Okay. So I pray that you have some notes that you are making. Let's get those that are able to get notebooks, kindly get a notebook and let's take a bit of the notes today. So I'm going to take us through healing before connecting. Becoming her, becoming him. I want to believe we have men here. And if you know of your friend who's a male and he's not here, you can encourage them to be here. I sometimes feel so sad when we usually have such sessions and we are only women on these sessions. And yet, it is mental health for all. Everyone has to be part of mental health. So please inbox a man, your husband, your brother, please inbox a man and they be here. Because at the end of that day, if you heal and your environment is not healed, it's very chaotic. You heal before your husband is healed. You heal before your brothers are healed. It's very chaotic. So because healing also calls for an environment, you need that intentionality of putting there an environment that can help you sustain the journey that you want to. And people are environments. So we need to have even people that are in our lives become very intentional about healing. So if your friend is not here, call them to join in. Yeah, this is a necessity, like as we say it in Tech Health. So we're healing before connect. That is how I did term my theme tonight, healing before connecting, because we should understand that healing is not about becoming someone new, but it is about you returning to who you are truly are before the pain shaped you. Personally, I've gone through pain. I've gone through like things that are not good for me. In my head, I'm like, oh God, I'm just a girl. Why this now? So before pain shaped you, we want that when you heal, you go back to that person whom God really created you to be. We know so well in this era and age, you can be functioning, showing up like on the outside, but still you are hurting inside. But us emphasizing the bit of inner healing, which is the mandate for us, it is to bridge, yeah, between who we appear to be and who we are truly are, because there is you in you that the world is waiting for. Sometimes some of us died before that us comes out. So you die with that you without us tapping into the you. So it's important that we do the inner work. When you do the inner work, your life stops being a performance and it becomes a reflection of your truth. Coach Mole talked about the people pleasing. Some of us that are people pleasing, we are doing a performance. Meanwhile, that is a very good performance that is very unpaid. No concert, it's not paid, no tickets. So when you do that inner work on you, your life stops being just a performance and becomes a reflection of your own truth, your own truth. So healing brings about alignment, and the alignment that you get after you intentionally heal, it brings about the peace. Are we there? I'm a teacher, so sometimes I'm like, are we there? So inner healing allows our inner world to align with the life that is outside us. And for so many years, people could think that if you say I want to heal, it is like you're the weakest person in the world. No. If someone says they want to heal, if someone starts on the journey of healing, it's not that they are weak. It's not that they are bad people. It's not that they are all those kinds of things we can think of. But it is the courage that someone has. That is courage. If someone says, I want to heal, that is courage, because they are going to get into a position of facing their inner, I call them demons. Yeah, emizim, their inner demons. So when you choose to confront your pain, you give your mental health a chance to breathe, to grow, to thrive. Because I like saying that you are not your wounds. You are not your wounds. And for people that want to use people's wounds against them, people are not their wounds. You who uses people's wounds against them, you have a problem. Actually, you're more sicker than they are. If you use someone's pain, if you use someone's wound against them, you're the sickest person that we have, not even the other person. So, people are not their wounds. Let's normalize not dressing people with their wounds. Every time you see how you see every mistake, you see every bad thing she has gone through, you see every failure, you see every difficult. No, that is not who she is. That is not who he is. People are not their mistakes. People are not their wounds. They are just in a process. They are just a work in progress. I will not go so much into what inner healing is. Coach Molly has done a bit of that for me. And she tried to emphasize to us the bit of awareness that healing happens in stages. You need to become so much aware and come to the acceptance of now, this is it. I need to take on this journey. I've been here for so long. And because also God is interested in our healing. So you come into acceptance, you start processing your things, however hard and bad they are. And then you start releasing them. You start releasing them. And when you start releasing them, we get into a stage of growth. After you get into a stage of growth, you come into a stage of integration. And after getting into a stage of integration, you come into the last stage of transformation. So ask yourself, which stage are you at? Because there are 7 stages. I might not have time to go through them. The first stage is awareness. The second stage is acceptance. The third stage is you processing. Then the fourth is releasing. The fifth, you get into growth. And then the sixth is integration. And then the seventh is transformation. Take a bit of inventory. Ask yourself, which stage am I at this point in my life? Because we do not move through all these stages in a straight line. That is why we've been told that this is not a one thing. I like using a mall. People who like going to malls, all those big shopping centers, and they buy things like they know I can do my hair here, I can do this here, then I get ice cream here, then after I go home when I've done everything in one place. Healing is not like that. It's not a one-stop center. So it's not a straight line. It's not that now I have it next month, I'm good to go, I'm healed. No, because these stages I've mentioned about, we go through them on this path of healing, and chances are high you can be back and forth. You've started your processing stage, and then you bounce back and go back to the awareness. For example, you've been away from relationships, now you get into this relationship with this man or woman, and then you'll be like, I thought I'd healed, I thought I'd processed things, I thought I'd, before you know it, you hit back to the first stage of becoming aware that, hey, I didn't know that even this exists. I didn't know in Ndimkambwe. I didn't know that I have a bad attachment. I didn't. So you go back to the first stage. But it doesn't matter how many times you're going to bounce back and forth into stages. The goal, the important thing is to reach there. Whether in 1 year, 2 years, 3 months, 6 years, the important thing is to reach there, for you to reach into the transformation. Amen. So we don't go through these stages, like I said. That's it's a straight kind of line. So if we say inner healing, it's not about forgetting that the past really existed. No, the past is there, but it is transforming our relationship with that past. I'm not saying to fall in love with it, but I'm saying transforming the relationship we have with our past. Because these are two things here. There are people that so much fall in love with their past. Like, there's so much, like, you can be so much in love with your past relationships. So much in love. Chirona misana zikusula kumutwe. You can be so much in love with people that hurt you, with broken friendships, with the stages of your life that failed here and there. Like, you hold on to them. But also, somewhere in the Bible tells us there is a time Joshua and his men, when they went to war, and when they came back, they were beaten. Baba kuba nyonyo nyonyo. Bwe baakomawo, the Bible tells us Joshua nafuna enyiike nafuna ennaku ne yeeyambula n'ayambala. Back then they could mourn a certain way. N'ayambala ezo engoye ezimooninga ne yeesiiga evvu, and then he had to put his face down. And the Bible tells us that God had to ask him, what is that you are doing? Why are you putting your face down like that? And God is telling him that is not, like, God was literally showing him that is not the solution. You don't have to mourn like that. And he tells him, just make sure you remove anything and everything around you that is devoted to destruction, that is making you fail to progress. So some of us, what is failing us to heal, what is failing us to get into the transformation, the growth, the integration, is us being so much in love with our past. We're so devoted to the past that we forget there is a future. And yet, our obsession should be with the future, not literally with the past. Are we there? I should know in the comment section if we are there. So, okay. So, it's important to understand that healing is a core factor to each and every one of us. Oba oli mwana, oba oli musajja, oba oli billionaire, oba oli ani, healing has to happen for each one of us, because you can be functioning, like I said, like on the outside, you're showing up at work. Us that are into leading spaces, you are leading people here and there. You are serving, us that serve in church. You lead people, leading people that are into choir. You lead the choir every single Sunday, every now and then, every service. Us that like smiling, you are smiling all the time. Us that are very ambitious, you're meeting your expectations, like you're hitting the targets like nothing. Yet internally, deep inside, you are carrying silent battles that you've never put your head around. So we should understand that pain doesn't always stop us from being productive. That is the other thing. Pain doesn't stop anyone. It has never stopped. Sometimes, for some people, pain doesn't stop them from functioning. Actually, it doesn't stop them from being productive. And actually, for some people, pain propels them into productivity. That's why we see nowadays, I like saying that we have a lot of women that are so much into those big positions, but yet they can confirm and tell you, I'm so broken, I'm so lonely, I'm so this and this. Just had a conversation with some lady, and she was like, she takes like trips, a plane here and there, back and forth, getting into meetings, getting all her bills paid. She doesn't have to worry about any kind of a bill, but still she's telling you, I'm so empty, I'm so empty, I'm so empty. And yet, for some of us, we are like, oh, I wish I can have those things. I'll be complete. I'll be like, oh, good to go. So you can be all those things, but still very broken, because we should understand that many of us have mastered the art of coping, performing, surviving, even when feeling broken, even when we are overwhelmed, even when we are empty within, we've mastered that art. But I'm here to remind you that mental health is wisdom. You need the mental health wisdom of knowing that it's not a good mental health when I'm just coping, when I'm just performing, when I'm just surviving, yet I'm broken. You're not enhancing a good mental health. Actually, you're breaking it further. So that is a connection between our outside world and then the inner world. You can get that connection, or you can get it as a disconnection. Why is it a disconnection? The emotional disconnection comes in when your outside life looks like it's stable. You're good to go. People see this beautiful gift, this accomplished Maggie, this ambitious Maggie, this so and so, this Barbara, this Nagawa. But yet your inner world is very unsettled. Olwana entalo z'otamanyi na muwendo, weebaka n'ozukka ku makya ng'okwaye naye nga tolina kye wakoze ne mu kiro. Amen? Are we there? So let's understand that functionality is not the same as wholeness. Gwokeera enkya n'okola byonna ebyo by'okola tekitegeeza nti we are whole. Nina Amanya, I can do this. No, functionality is not the same as wholeness, because you can appear all strong, but yet you feel very exhausted. You can be very happy, but yet you are empty. You can be successful, but you will still feel unworthy. You can be surrounded, you have people in your house, but you are very lonely. Very surrounded with people, but you the loneliest human being. There is a deep connection between mental health and healing that I'm not going to go so much into detail. But I have a like I said, my theme is healing before connecting. Why did I bring out the connecting part? Because nowadays we are looking out for connections like nothing. We want to have friends. We want to get husbands to us that are not married. We want husbands. We want wives. Like we want social capital like nothing. Like we want so much. We want to connect with people. Many of us want to connect with people. But it's important that you prioritize the healing before desiring the connection. Why? Why is it important like that? Becoming whole should be your goal for a health relationship, for any connection you would want to achieve. Becoming whole, becoming healed should be number one goal. The Bible tells us in Proverbs, I think chapter 4, someone can quote it there for me. I think chapter 4, 20, between 20 and 24, somewhere, that guard your heart, for everything you do flows out of, like, guide your heart, for everything you do flows from it. And in the Bible, in Luke 6:45, it tells us that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So take a moment and ask yourself, what is it that I'm still carrying that is affecting how I relate with myself? And ask yourself, what part of me needs healing before I seek connection? Let those questions sink, write them down, and ask yourself, what is it that I'm still carrying that is affecting how I relate with people? Because back and forth you be on social media and see people fighting each other, even on small things, like people are fighting each other, people are abusing each other, people don't want to be now around people. We've become very isolated, we've become bitter, we've become so many things that, and I sometimes I be like, God is there and he's asking, and I, yeah, what's not happening here? But because we are too busy to do the work, we do not want to do the work of healing. So ask those questions to yourself and help me answer them for yourself. Because the truth is, many people don't want to talk about this truth, but we do not enter relationships empty. We enter them carrying something. Every relationship you've ever, and if I say relationship, sometimes when we say relationships, people are thinking romantic relationships. Romantic relationships are part of relationships, but they are relationships, work relationships, family relationships, friends relationships. Like, we have all the dimensions of relationships you can think about, even the relationship with self. It is a relationship. Some of us nowadays are so even detached from ourselves. We do not know who we are anymore. We do not know how to relate with us anymore. So I wanted to say that you should understand that you don't enter a relationship empty. You don't. You enter whatever relationship it is you get into carrying something. And what is that something? Whatever we carry, an example, we carry the past. You enter into that family with a past, your past. You enter into that with your friend, that girlfriend of yours, with your past. You enter with your wounds. You enter with your fears. You enter with your unmet needs and expectations. Like, you carrying something. People think like it is just me. Oh, Molly, I'm just gift. I'm just your girl gift. This is not gift. Gift is coming with so much. The past, the wounds. Gift is coming with her fears. Gift is coming with her unmet needs and and unmet expectations. Gift is coming with her attachments. Like you come with everything. Let me give us an example in the Bible. Too many of us know the story of Joshua and his brothers. I want to start from the time when Joshua gotten his position as the vice president and as in Egypt. And time came that in these other parts of the world, anger was like they had drought, they had famine, and things were not working well. They didn't have money. They didn't have food. Food was very scarce, and he had to welcome his brothers to where he is because for him he had plenty. He had so much. And the Bible tells us, if you read that scripture well, the Bible tells us that Jacob and his sons, Israel and his sons, they packed anything and everything. Okuba ne kasola akasembayo buli kimu abakozi obuyibwa, like they packed anything and everything byonna ne babyetika ne bakkirira into Egypt where Joseph was then. And if you read the scripture further, it will show you. The Bible tells us that time came that they further multiplied. Nebakakana how is it called in Uganda? They have occupied the biggest part in Egypt, but Baba Banji knew that even they ended up misplacing the other people that they found in Egypt. So because they came with everything, buli omu oba yalina abakazi babiri basatu yajja nabo n'abaana baabwe. Jjukira ate beeyongera okuzaala, ebisolo bye bajja nabyo byeyongera okuzaala. So every time we bring people into our lives, they come with their everything, and whatever they come with multiplies. If it is good, it will multiply into more good things. If it's bad, it multiplies into more bad things. Are we there? So get to understand that you don't enter any relationship empty. You carry something, and be very truthful to yourself and ask yourself, what is it that I'm carrying? Really? What is it? Because without realizing it, sometimes we expect relationships to fix what we haven't fixed. A relationship can't fix what you haven't fixed. It's a lie. It's a lie. Married people can tell us it's a lie. I'm asking a married person to give me context to that. I think that is one relationship we can relate to, a relationship of marriage. Has their marriage ever fixed their things? Or it exposes? I don't know. But there is no relationship that can fix what you as an individual you've not fixed. And that is why today, as an individual, I choose to talk about this truth that you give off who you are before you give off what you carry. You give off who you are before you give what you carry. Before people experience your gifts, your talents, your warmth, your everything, your wisdom, your skills, before people experience all those things, your beauty, your intelligence, they experience your emotional state. Now that is something that is very underrated. That is why for us is like, for us, we are emotional healing, because before we experience who you are, your gifts, you think I'm so intelligent, I'm so skilled, I'm so this, I'm so this and this, we experience your emotional state. If your emotional state is in the negative state, now in the medical field we use negatives and positives. If your emotional state is in its negative, we shall experience that negativity. If your emotional state is in its positive, we shall experience that positivity. Sorry, I wanted to organize my phone, but I don't know how. Okay. So it's important for us as we finalize this mental health awareness month, or as we get into the last quarter of 2026, to prioritize inner healing and to prioritize the the art of connecting, the art of relationships, because building strategic relationships, like every one of us desires relationships. If you look at the Abraham's Maslow's hierarchy of needs, somewhere in that pyramid, I can't show it to you, but somewhere in that pyramid, they put for us relationships, intimacy somewhere, family somewhere, because it's a very important factor. Relationships are very important. A sense of belonging is very important. Some people work. One time I was asking one of my male friends, and I was asking him, but why do men work? And then he gave me three things. He said, we work we work, one, to get good sex. Two, we work to sleep well. Three, we work, it was good sex, sleep well, and then I'm forgetting the third thing. Yeah, the third thing was to get the people we want. And I'm like, nowadays people go to work to get certain people. Like, you work because there is someone you want to get. And of course, I try to internalize anything and everything that he said, and later in my brain's I had to make sense out of it. So, whatever strategy you have for you to connect, like I said, this person told me for them they work for those three things. I don't know why you work. I don't know why you get into relationship, but the strategy of getting strategic relationships has to be number one, healing. You need to begin with your inner healing journey. You give off, like I said, who you are before you give up, you give like off what you carry. So if there is unhealed pain, it will speak louder than your potential will ever speak. Because just imagine, you are in a boardroom, you're giving your speech, and then someone says something. "Oh, wayazo zijja kuvaako, tujja kukulaba nti wayazivuddeko, tujja kukitegeera nti koki wayazimuvuddeko." Because like I said, if there is unhealed pain, it will speak louder than your potential. So, strategic relationships are not just built on skills. We don't build relationships on networks. Nowadays, they are telling us, go to events, network, do this, network. Everything is network and network and network. But we don't build relationships on just network, not just on skills or opportunities, but we build them on emotional wellness. To the parents, teach that to your children. Not never to build relationships on cutting coordinate, like you give off yourself. That's why nowadays some of us, it's easy to give off our bodies, because we're thinking, I have to give off something. I need to give off something. We don't build relationships on any of those, on skills, on, because that means of course someone is going to love you just for what you can offer. If you stop giving them that, the relationship is normal. But relationships that are long lasting, they should be built on emotional wellness, because unhealed wounds can quietly shape how we show up. You end up, like, for example, you may seek validation instead of alignment. You're seeking validation at a workspace instead of aligning to your purpose. That's why you are at that job, but you are seeking validation. Weegula ku buli omu from one office to the other. Gwagenda ng'obagulira chai buli lunaku, buli lunaku, buli lunaku, buli lunaku. Why? Ask yourself, why? Why have I even been doing the things I've been doing? Why? You may tolerate like unhealth dynamics out of fear or loss. Yeah, unhealth dynamics. Someone does something over and over and over and over and over and over. Of course, we are saying forgive, but also forgiveness has its stages, like how far you need to go with the forgiveness. But some of us end up tolerating a lot of drama, unhealthy dynamics in the name of, I fear this man or woman to go. I fear this friend to go. I fear to lose this job. I fear this and this and this. That is your unhealed wounds. They are the ones speaking. You end up struggling with trusting, with boundaries, with consistency. If any one of us is here, and those are you struggle in those areas, you struggle to trust, you struggle to be consistent, you struggle to enforce certain boundaries, Those are your unhealed wounds speaking. But if you get into the inner healing, it allows you to show up whole, not half empty, like whole. It brings about confidence and it allows you to build from a place of confidence, not the other part of the insecurity. Because some of us sometimes we end up building from low self-esteem, from insecurities, instead of us building out of confidence. If you get more to understand about inner healing, you realize that it helps you to build confidence. To any one of us that is lacking onto confidence, you feel like it's hard for you to be confident, to have that kind of esteem, you need to check yourself and ask yourself, what are those areas in my life that I've not addressed? What are those areas in my life I need to confront, to deal with, to ask yourself, what are those areas? Another thing, when we do inner healing, it allows us to choose relationships that are aligned, but not those that are just available. You choose a relationship that is aligned, not ono yaliwo ate naakola ki, mole yaliwo, what should I do? Kamale gagenda naye. When you do the work, you choose relationship from alignment, not this man yaliwo, I've spent 2 years sina musajja ngamba nti anjagala, kamale gagenda noono, omulala bw'atajja. Guno omulimu gwe guliwo, maze ebbanga nga nnoonya omulimu, kati oguliwo gwa kugenda kukola mu club ey'ekiro ku kutambuza walajo something, and you know so well in the deepest of hearts that is against your values. Because kyekiriwo, it is the job and they are telling you tonyoma mulimo gwonna, you're like, kangende mu nkole. But you know you can't even handle that night kind of life club or something. But because for you, alignment is out of the equation. Now you just, what is available for me? Tutubanga mu families zaffe abamu ekiriwo kye nnaalya, you enter into a restaurant, ne bakubuuza, what would you want to eat? Ekiriwo kye nnaalya. And also check yourself, if you're that kind of person, mumpe byonna ebiriwo. That is you still having something you need to check. Why are you choosing anything that is available? You're not for anything that is available. You are for alignment. So when you heal internally, your relationships stop being a place of surviving. Do you know, some of us are into survival mode. And I think every time I'm praying, I keep telling God, I don't want to be in survival mode. I want to be thriving. I don't want to be surviving all the time. But some of us, because when you get into survival mode, every day you worry about the next day. You like, kati, like you worry about anything and everything because you are in survival. So us that are in relationships that are on survival, buli kaseera weekanga olowooza anaaba akyaliwo, is this friend of mine going to stay even next year? Will I still have him or her as my friend? Is this man still going to stay tunatuuka mpaka ku mikolo? Is this job still going to stay banaye gunantuusa mpaka this year? So like we are just tuli ku bunkenke, oli ku bunkenke, like oli ku bunkenke. So when you heal internally, you stop having relationships from a place of survival and you become a space of growth. It is my prayer to each one of you that is watching me that God can bring you to a place where you become a space of growth. You yourself, you become a space of growth. You yourself, you become a space of collaboration. You yourself, you become a space of purpose in the name of God. So we need to heal first and build later. I'm not saying that be there in your bed covered, waiting. Not batugambye, it's okay to warn, we shall build later. I didn't say that. And this Coach Mole explained how we start on the journey. But you need to heal. There are certain areas that you be like, for example, there are certain areas in Gabojingiramunga, things like still relationships, you need to heal for some reason. Because some people, like I said when I was starting, some people are more sicker. They can turn your unhealed wounds or your pain as a weapon. They can use it against you. They can weaponize it. So sometimes it's important that you heal. Some people don't have insight. Some people don't have I think I can use that word. Amanyira ddala that you're anxious, attached n'akuteeka ku bunkenke. And they become dismissive all the time, all the time. So before you get into a relationship, heal your attachment, heal so many other things. Okay, like I said, we heal first, we build later, because in every relationship, your wounds or your wholeness, like I said, will speak before your value does. And don't ask me how is value connected to relationships. Oh, in relationships, we need value. Yeah, we need value. If you've been in a relationship with someone that doesn't add you value, think about it. In relationships, we need value. So ask yourself, in the relationships that I'm in at my workplace, at in my community, at church, with friends, in this romantic relationship, which value am I bringing on table? Even God wants value from us. Meanwhile, so unhealed people don't build strategic relationships; they build survival connections. Those two things are the strategic relationships and survival connections. Yeah, they could survival. Yeah, they could survive. And you don't want to deal with also a person that is just surviving. Rwalero. You need to build with someone that has a future, someone that is aligned. Inner healing, we should understand that it is the foundation of unstable connections. I'm sorry, I've gotten a cold. It is a foundation of sustainable connections. And we should understand that we don't just attract people. You'll be like, I've attracted mole. No, 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 no. We don't just attract people. People, okay, yeah, let me put it like this. We don't just attract people, but people reveal a level of healing. Someone should put right for me that in the chat. That we don't just attract people, yeah, but we reveal a level of healing. The people that you have in your life, the people that you have in your life, they reveal the level at which you are at in your journey of healing. Amen. This is not a live class. I don't know whether people are sad. I don't know whether, but yes. So, wholeness, we should understand that it is the strategy behind every healthy relationship. Please let's go and heal. Let's go and heal. Let's go and heal. Because many of us are trying to build strategic relationships, but we have to build them on a stable self. Be stable first. Because like I said, you attract based on your you attract based on your wounds, not your worthy. Those are the bitter truths we don't want to put out there. But we attract based on our wounds. We attract based on our levels, not our worthy. Oyinza okulowooza bannange nze gifting nga nasoma. I thought I'm intelligent. I thought I'm like this, and then you attract a person, and then you're thinking, how did I become a friend to this person? That is your wounds. Like, it's not your worthy. We attract based on our wounds, not on our worthy. Tolooza nti I have all these other PhDs, the 10 PhDs, whatever masters, whatever bachelors, whatever certificates and diplomas, that now that is you're thinking that is your worthy, and you're thinking you're going to attract people like that. We don't attract people like that. We attract based on our wounds. And sometimes we should understand that we settle because of fear, not alignment. Some of us are settling. And in the deepest of hearts, you know whether you just settled. You know so well that I just settled on this job. I just settled in this friendship. I just settled in this area. Because we settle because of fear, not alignment. Some of us, when we've not healed. And some of us, when we don't heal in the relationships, we overgive to be accepted. That is the people pleasing part. We overgive ourselves. You give your body, you give your wisdom, you give nga tebanaba nakubuuza how do we call it? Omuntu nga tanaba nakubuuza mpa ku magezi already wamuwadde amagezi concept, full concept. Weewaddeyo, you overgive. Tanakugamba mpola just akugambye bugambe nina ekyetaago kya million bwesi wamugambye dda nina obukadde 5 ku account. Jesus Christ. I've said this. Anyway, another thing, we tolerate what we should walk away from. Sometimes what we tolerate, we can walk away from it. Whatever it is you've tolerated in your life, you can walk away from it. You can. If you go back in your closet and do the work with God, you can. So let's understand that unhealed pain doesn't stay hidden. Your unhealed pain, it will not be hidden forever. No. It doesn't. It links into communication. Your unhealed pain links into trust. Your unhealed pain links into boundaries. Your unhealed pain links into attachment. That's why I said unhealed wounds speak louder than your potential will ever speak. So you need to be very honest with yourself. You may need healing. To anyone that is watching me now, if you consistently seek validation from other people, put those things down. The other thing we didn't tell you that for healing, you need to be very truthful to the core, very truthful. Because if you don't do that, you can't heal what you've not named. You can't heal what you're not ready to confront. If you're not ready to confront, that's why you see many of us are avoiding hard conversations in relationships. But what you're not ready to confront, kiyinza okubanga like you're not ready to deal with it. So be truthful to yourself and ask yourself, are you constantly
Pretty, please mute so that we can give the coach these last 5 minutes before we engage. Thank you.
Thank you, Pretty. I was saying you have to be honest with yourself and understand this. I was saying that you need healing if you constantly seek validation from other people. Constantly. You need healing if you fear being alone, even in unhealthy spaces. You need healing if you struggle to say no. You need healing if you attach quickly and detach painfully. You attach quickly and you detach painfully. You need healing if you feel drained instead of feel filled in relationships, and so many other things. So, as I get to finalize, inner healing is not about perfection, but it's about wholeness. I think I've tried to explain that. When you begin to heal, you shift from validation to identity. That is another conversation. Because you happen to no longer need people to tell you who you are. You know who you are. You don't need, Mole, please tell me, who are my gifts? Mole, I know who I am. When you begin to heal, you build boundaries without guilt. Without guilt. You understand that access to you is earned. It's not assumed. People don't just assume that they can bump into you anytime, any day. So you build boundaries without guilt, without kukirowozaako ekiro nti ate banne namugobye, ate bannange namugambye no, ate bannange no. When you begin to heal, you choose alignment over availability. Especially as the women, to choose alignment over availability. Even to men, so no mukazi aliwo kamale gatwala n'alabira eyo. God forbid. Because not that everyone who comes has to stay. They are meant to stay. No. People are not meant to stay. People come and go. Let their phase come and it goes. So don't be like, if you feel like alignment is not into the picture, when you begin to heal, you respond. You don't just react. Because your past no longer has, like, it doesn't control you anymore. Like, your past no longer control your present, but some of us, our past are taking lead. They are controlling the present and the future. And let's understand that healing doesn't just happen. I've said that healing doesn't just happen to you, but it changes what you allow. Healing, you don't just wake up and be like, I'm healed. No, it doesn't just happen and change you. No, it doesn't even, actually, let me put it this way. Healing doesn't change us. Healing doesn't change you, but it changes what you allow. It doesn't change you that now I'm changed, I'm a new creature. No, it changes what you allow. So we should understand that building health connections is very key, because you cannot build a health connection from a broken foundation. So before you build any connection, a work connection with a relationship with yourself, a relationship with your job, a relationship with people, and any other thing, a relationship with your company, with your business, you need to build self-awareness. You need to build your worth. You need to build emotional discipline. You need to build spiritual grounding, you like it or not. Because like I said, when you're healed, you don't chase, you attract, you don't beg, you align, you don't perform, you show up authentically. So in strategic relationships, if you have that, if you've worked on yourself, strategic relationships become spaces of growth. They become platforms of purpose and connections of mutual value, and not just survival, not dependence, not confusion, but wholeness. Because wholeness is the strategy behind every health relationship. So any one of us that is listening to me and watching me saying this, tell yourself now, or even throughout the year, that you will not use relationships to escape yourself. Do not use any relationship. Do not get into a romantic relationship simply because you're tired of people saying you are single. You're tired of everyone looking at you as a failure, because of course nowadays our society thinks that if you're not married, you're a failure. If you don't have a wife, you're a failure. No, you're not. So let us not use relationships to escape ourselves. Tell yourself that you will choose healing over hiding. I'll have that discussion on Woman Blossom Summit on 25th. Please, I'm calling on you. Tell yourself that I'm worthy of healthy and aligned connections. Tell yourself that you build from wholeness, not brokenness. You will build from a place of purpose, not from a place of pain. So before you ask for better relationships, ask yourself, whom am I showing up as? Because at the end of the day, you do not just attract what you want. You reveal who you are. You don't just attract what you want. I want a man that is like this and this and this. No, you don't attract what you want. I need a job that is like this and this and this. No, you don't just attract what you want. You reveal who you are. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm asking you, heal, grow, become, and from that place, put it upon yourself to build relationships that reflect your wholeness, not your wounds. I beg to stop here and hand over to the moderator. Thank you so much.
Celebrate. Ranan. I really feel sorry for people who have not been on this